All right. One, two, three. Oh, hey everybody. I'm going to teach you an exercise that I was taught years ago and I totally forgot about it. But how do I exercise my brain creatively in using Photoshop? Are we ready for this? Let's do it. Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you are new to the channel, this is dedicated to photography and as a photo artist, thinking creatively out of the box. All right, with that out of the way, let's jump into the program. I was just daydreaming the other day about something, and I don't know what spurred this on, but I just remembered an exercise I was taught years ago, how to push myself to think creatively in using Photoshop features. And it just dawned on me that the other thing is when I remember that, I can't remember who I learned it from. And it was from one of three different people. And I don't want to guess at it and say the wrong thing, but a very successful person in the realm of using Photoshop creatively as an artist. So let's dive into Photoshop and let's take a look at the exercise. Okay, I've got this image open. The image is irrelevant. I have to have something that I've used this image before in the past, but let's take a look at the concept of exercising our brain. Now, this is something you want to do when you have time. Might not be a bad idea to do this once a month, but the whole premise of this is, number one, use a feature in Photoshop that you have never used before and don't even know what it does. And see if you can apply that and experiment with it and come up with something creative. Now, with that said, sometimes this is going to work and other times it's not, which is fine. Because we learn by, oh, that was a sucky tool, or that maybe is a tool that really isn't designed for photography. It's more for illustrators or for, people that do page layout work or that kind of stuff. So, because we have to understand that most of the features and tools we have in Photoshop has nothing to do with photography. And there are other tools that help us do creative things as photo artists, but still most of the tools and things that are in there are slanted toward designers and illustrators and even, say, web people. So let's jump into this. Now, I'm recording this like no practice, no nothing. You're going to see me, not be happy with certain steps. I might undo steps. This may not even work. But the feature I chose to use was something called Posterize. And I don't even know what that could be used for at all. And we'll find that right down here in our layers palette down here where we have the what I call the Oreo cookie dipped in milk down here. And you'll see a feature here during the pop-up, and that is Posterize. And so I'm going to play with this, and I'm going to see what I can do creatively. Again, it's just an exercise with the brain. This may work, this may not work. But let me do Control-J, Command-J on a Mac. I just want to duplicate my layer. So I can easily go back to, say, before and after right here. And let's go over here and just pull up Posterize. And when I do that, this is what you get. And I'm not a fan of that look. Not to say that you might be, but if I take a look at the properties panel up here, so let's zoom in here for a moment. I see this is set to 4. And that must be the default setting because I've never used that. So what happens if I move this all the way to the left, which is 2? Wow, the background all went black. I don't know if I can go any further. If I put in 1, nope, it won't let me. It says you need an integer between 2 and 255. So it's got to be 2 at the lowest. If I move this to the right, this is 20. It's getting back to a normal photograph. I mean, there's nothing. If I push this all the way to the right. So, I don't know what. Let me start out. Let's say you wanted the color. I'm not really happy with that. And plus, I'm not happy with the edges and stuff there. I don't know. Maybe I'm going to choose a layer. I'm going to right mouse click on this. And I'm going to convert that to a smart object. That way, if I want to change something, I can go back and retweak it. I'm going to see what I can do if I go to, well, I don't like all this choppiness here. So what if I went to filters, blur, let's just do Gaussian blur. Now that looks interesting. You could play with the blur of these. Again, this is starting to look like a person there, but I don't know. This is not working for me. You might like this. I mean, I don't know. Let me cancel that for a moment. And let me go back to filter. There's a different type of blur that I use occasionally. And I can't explain it, but it's just a slightly different algorithm. It's called the box blur. So it's a little bit different. The way it handles the pixels and that, but no, I'm still not a fan of that. So I'm going to get rid of that. In fact, right here where it says box blur, I'm just going to right mouse click and delete that smart filter. Okay. I'm trying to think creatively. This is the whole thing. I'm trying to exercise the brain here. Well, let me go back here and let me pull it all the way to the left. They're sort of like that. And I don't know, the colors are just not doing it for me, I guess, but I do like the clean background. So what happens if I play with the, you know what? Let me do black and white to see what happens. Because I do like that black background. I was just not crazy about the colors. And let me move the sliders here under properties. Let's see what happens. Oh yeah, it changes quite a bit. So I'm going to play with this. Again, this is personal preference. I'm not a fond of this under cheek right there. And the yellow slider is sort of doing it for me where it's fading that away. I might have it. Yeah, I might do that there. Green, let's see if green's doing anything. Nope. How about blue? Well, it's doing it in the hair a little bit. I'm going to pull the cyan back. And the blue, we'll bring back a little bit. I'm going to move it to the right. And let's see here. No, nothing on the magenta, or very little. So I'm going to leave that in the middle. Let's play with the reds again. Move that to the left. Again, all this is just personal preference. And I wonder if it makes a difference if I had this down here. Oh, it does. Huh. Interesting. So if I pull it down here, just above, you can see the look is a little bit different versus up there. I'm going to leave it up there, though. Again, personal preference on that. And I'm going to go back here. I'm going to change my mind. Again, I'm just sort of feeling this out. I'm going to go to blur again. Let's do a box blur. And I'm not going to go that far. Let's pull it back a bit. Maybe 5. And click on OK to accept that. Okay, now that I have that done, I don't like, well, I'm going to go here on the mask where we had the box blur. And I'm going to grab my paintbrush, B for brush. I'm going to make sure it's a soft edge brush. And I'm painting in black, and I'm at 100% opacity. And I just want to bring in a little bit more of the detail of the hair there, maybe around here in her head, and her tattoo in the back. It'll come in a little bit clearer. Hopefully that shows. Wow, I really like this as a simplified, here's what we started with. Here's what I'm ending up with. And again, I can play with these sliders a little bit and tweak this, but I do like that look. Let me go to the top and let's add, and again, I'm just unrehearsed here, shooting from the hip. Let's pull up. I don't know. Let's go great. Now let's go with the solid colors, just out of curiosity. If I pick like a red, and let's try a blending mode here. Well, that's sort of cool. Yeah, it's in darken mode, or check this out. Darken mode, the subject is red. If you go to screen, it's the background that's red. That's pretty awesome. So, and by the way, double click on this swatch right there and, change the colors based on the look that you want. I mean, that's pretty cool. Okay, so where does this really end? I'm going to, by the way, if you're learning anything, if you could do me a favor, and that is, hit that like button, subscribe if you've not subscribed at all, and hit that bell, notification bell, so next time I upload a video, which is about once a week, you'll get notified on that. Also, I'd like to thank the people that have been supporting the channel, because this is not monetized at all with YouTube, and I'm not sponsored by anybody, so the link is right here. It'll be in the show notes to buymeacoffee.com/Stephen Photo Artist, and donate a coffee, like it's $3. Some are doing 2 or 3. So the ones that have been supporting the channel and helping out, thank you very much for doing that. Okay, so let's, and by the way, also, if you got any questions on anything, my email address is also here. It's stephenphotoartist@gmail.com. Okay, let's take a look at, I sort of like that, but I really like this. So I'm going to turn that off. And boy, let me just grab in my library here my signature. Control-T, Command-T on a Mac to activate your free transform tool. And I'm just going to drop my signature in right there. And I like this. I need to remember this. So let me share a tip with you, because I've done stuff like this in the past where I discover things by just exercising the brain, playing around, making mistakes, try things, whatever. I want to save the PSD file for this so I can come back to this later. And I can re-engineer what I just did. In other words, I can tell, okay, I duplicated the background because it's right here. I converted to a smart object because I can tell that. I use box blur, I should say. I can double click on it just to look at the settings if I want. I added the non-destructive feature called posterize. And I can look over here, and it was on number 2. And then I converted it to black and white. I used the black and white filter, and I just played with the sliders to get the look that I wanted. And yeah, that's it. So I don't have to worry about writing down notes or whatever. I would just save this as a PSD and put it. I just keep a folder of Photoshop ideas and techniques, and I can pull up these things in the future, because I might come across an image that, it would look awesome. And also, I would save a JPEG, like this is a JPEG, so I have a sample of what that Photoshop, sequence will do for me, so I can quickly find that. So hopefully you've learned something here today. Again, please like the video, subscribe if you have not, subscribe and hit the notification bell, and let's challenge yourself. Take one of your images. It doesn't have to be a portrait. See if you can do this with still life or landscape or something, and use this as a jump start to exercise your brain and experiment a little bit. Maybe you can come up with something that's really cool, and then the other times you're not. I mean, I feel I got lucky today, okay, with coming up with this, and I really like this, and I'm thinking about doing a series of images with this. In fact, what might be really cool is like fine art nude photography, which I'm not an expert at that. I've done it a couple of times. Maybe my interest will get back into that in the future. But boy, if you want to say, you're looking at the image, it's a nude figure, but you're not seeing, private parts, let's say, but yet you have the essence. It's more like an abstract look and feel. This might work really well. So, yeah, I think I'm going to use this in the future on a project. All right, so hopefully you learned something. Again, let's get that camera out. Literally think creatively out of the box. Until next time, see ya.